Hi everyone, so new video for today. Decided it would be a good time to go and try a 50 kilowatt charger. Haven't tried one of these yet, not super fast, but still on the faster side of what you can expect to get when you're charging an electric car like the Polestar 2. So battery, I managed to run it down over the last couple of days down to just 20%, which is showing a 30-mile range. And I'm going to try out a 50 kilowatt charger on the Polar network that's located at a pub not too far from here. So it's kind of perfect location, really. You can go there, charge up, and have some food while you wait. So yeah, let's head off and we'll see how long it takes and what it's like using a 50 kilowatt charger on the Polestar 2. Let's go. Okay, so we've arrived at the charger now, and yeah, short journey and really heavy rains. The road's very wet today, and yeah, so we got the car set up. We're gonna get it plugged in a second. 15% we've got remaining on the battery, and yeah, let's hope this works. So one of the bad things about these chargers at these restaurant locations, I've noticed, is there's usually only one. So if you arrive and you've got a really low battery and you're relying on it, and it's in use, you might be waiting quite a long time. It could be someone charging for like an hour or something on one of these. So that's the risk factor. Like I've got enough range to get back home, but not to go far. So yeah, relying on these as your main place for stopping is a little bit of a risk there, because there isn't more than one charger. So okay, yeah. So I'm gonna hop out the car. Let's close up. So yeah, you can see that this is the Polar charger here we're talking about. So these installations are ChargeMaster BP. So let's get everything opened up and ready to go. So I have a membership card, so I'm going to select this. Select membership. 15 pence per kilowatt hour. That's really good value. So £1.50 minimum payment. Let's scan it on the reader over here. Well, that's great. So let's just take out the little plug here, make sure we can get it plugged in. Grab the charger. I find these difficult to plug in sometimes. The cable can be really stiff to twist, but this one's okay. So plug, hold. Safety checks being carried out, it says on the screen over there. So vehicle detected communication okay. And the final one's safety check okay. So let's see. I'm going to keep holding this because I've read quite a lot of stuff about the handshake issue, which is getting everything started up. And then once it's going, you're good to go. So here we go. Charging 15%. Energy supplied 0. Elapsed time 6 seconds. So that's good. Okay, so back in the car, having a little look. What's it saying? So we're ramping up now on the charge. 102 and 389 volts. So initially it says charging to complete 1526. That's pretty slow when you consider the time now is 12:56, 1 o'clock. So yeah, we're looking at 1.5 hours. No, not even that. 2.5 hours. That's very slow. We'll just have to see how that pans out once the whole charging cycle actually gets going. So yeah, we've been charging for a couple of minutes now, not very long, but already, so we've gone up by a few percent, 17% now, and it seems to have settled down at about 120 miles per hour. So again, I mentioned this before, but I don't yet know what that number is based on, and it'd be great if someone is able to tell me. But yeah, maybe down in the comments, if anybody knows what that charging speed number is actually related to, that'd be really useful information. I mean, is it related to previous trip computer results, or is it a fixed number that Polestar have coded in there? But say we assume something like 3 miles per kilowatt, that's indicating that that charging speed is about 40 kilowatt hours. And if we were to estimate that at more like 2.6 miles, then we get a number of 46. So however you look at it, I guess at the moment we're getting something in the region of 40 to 46 kilowatts of charging going to the battery. So let's see how that pans out. 70% battery level now, and we'll see what it's like. Come back in 15 minutes and have another look. So I just did something that had quite a significant effect on the charging speed. That was open the door and turn on and off the climate control in the car. That makes a lot of sense because obviously it's going to be using power to do those functions. So opening the door perhaps turns on the lights, it sets other things off. So check this out. If I swing the camera around, 124 miles per hour we've got right now, and let's put the climate onto auto, get this warmed up, set it to 20, and look at the charging speed now. You can see how that's dropped down quite a bit. So that does have an effect on your charging speed. So let's put this off again and see how that pops up. There we go. Rises quite a bit with the climate off. If we pop the door open, I'm not sure it'll do it now, but well, actually it's gone up. But that's probably just a lingering effect of me turning off the climate and also reaching 21% now. So that's interesting. So we've reached 21% and we've got 124 miles per hour with the climate control off. So let's see, if we assume that's at 3, then we're getting 41 kilowatts. If we do it again at 2.6, that's more like 47. So yeah, let's let it charge up a bit. We'll come back in a few minutes and have another look. So we're back at the charger. Let's have a look at what we got. 23 minutes and 20 seconds, 18.9. So I worked that on my calculator. If you take the 19, divide that by 23.5 times 60, getting an average of 48.5 kilowatts. So yeah, it's working pretty well. It's doing exactly as you'd expect over the charging period. So we're up at 37%. So let's hop back in the car and see what I'm getting inside the vehicle. So pop it open. What's it say? So 37% charge, 112 miles an hour. This climate's off again, and yeah, 402 volts. So it looks like it's pretty much steady on that charge. That's kind of the rate that you get per hour. And it's now estimating completion at 1550. So that's 2.5 hours to get to 100%. So that'll be interesting. Let's try this on the charging page. Let's have a look at what happens if we set this to 80% now. See if it'll update that. Now look what we get, 1405. So yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. 1405, that's yeah, it's only what, 45 minutes from now to get to 80%. So the real slow part, and we all know this already, the real slow part is when you get to that higher number from 80 to 100%. It's going to slow down quite significantly. So I'm going to put it back to 100% and let's go in and finish eating some food. Come back and check it in a few minutes time. So one thing I'm always a little unsure of at these restaurant locations is what the rules are in terms of using the vehicle. So you can see here on the sign, the Polar Network, during pub opening hours, you've got to enter your details. Outside the hours, you can text details to this so that you don't get picked up on the system. So basically what this is saying is this charger is here for people to use regardless of what you're doing. Obviously, I'm sure the pub expects you to eat there when you're here, but if the pub's closed like in the morning or through the night, then yeah, you just pull up, charge up and send over the details, which is great. So back at the car now, and I think we are almost at 80%. Let's have a look. 79%. 1 hour and 6 minutes, 52.3. So that's pretty good, really, if you think about it. Like, it's just over an hour and it went from 15% to 80%. So let's work out what that is. 1 hour and 6 minutes, that's 52.5 divided by 66.5 minutes approximately. And the hourly rate then was an average of 47.36. So pretty close to the 50 that you'd expect. And there we are, 80% at 1 hour and 7 minutes from 15%. So let's see what the car says inside now. And yeah, we've reached 80%, 81%, and you can see that slowed down significantly at 71 miles per hour. So this is the bit that's going to be slow. Getting all the way to 100% charge from here. If I've got 100% selected here on the screen, so you can see the estimate 1604. So earlier when we had a look at it, it was giving us just after 2 o'clock, 2:10 I think it was. It's 2:04 now, and it reached 80%. If I drop this down to 90, 1434. So that's really interesting to see. I think when we select 100%, that takes it all the way up to that really high number of, now it's got 1605, so completing at 1605. So you can see that final 10%, that's really where it's slow. So there's absolutely no point if you're trying to travel a good distance and waiting to get 100% charge. The idea is that you get what you need to keep moving and top up only to 80%. But again, if you're here and you're eating anyway, you might as well leave it charging and get what you can. So yeah, let's see how it goes from now on. The charging. So yeah, look at that. Big slowdown in speed, 88%, and now we're getting only 35 miles per hour. So it's still pretty quick, but it's barely any faster than what we were getting when we tried the 11 kilowatt AC charger. So that's where you see the significant slowing down of the charging speed as you get to those higher numbers. Okay, so let's finish the charge now. Just jump out and have a look at the charging screen. So we've reached 88% now, 59.1 and 1 hour and 25. So yeah, tap card on terminal A to end the charging session. So we'll do that. So one thing I really like about this charger, as I mentioned earlier, it's only like 15 pence per kilowatt to charge. So that's actually really cheap. Like if I was charging at home right now, I think it's 17. So my rate on Octopus Energy is quite high during the day, but I get a much better deal at night on the Economy 7 tariff. So yeah, with Polar Plus, I'm better off driving here and charging here than I am doing so at home if I need to get a charge. So that's something to bear in mind. And with that in mind as well, if you think about it, the 150 kilowatt chargers, yeah, they're great, but if you end up having to pay, you know, if you're on 35, 39, 50 pence per kilowatt on a 150, you're going to charge faster. Maybe you'll get from 20 to 80 in 40 minutes, but we got from 15 to 80% in not much over an hour. So for the sake of an extra 25 minutes, save a significant amount of money. You can spend that on having some nice food and just chilling out for a little bit. So it's well worth thinking about whether you really need to save those 15 to 30 minutes by using the 150 kilowatt charger. Or if you can just accept a 50 kilowatt and chill out a bit more and save yourself a bit of money. That's something to keep in mind. All right, let's head home. Okay, so we're back now from the charging at the Red Line in Hand Cross. And yeah, it was a good experience, I'd say. Really quick. I was surprised that, it didn't feel like a long time to have to wait there charging on the 50 kilowatt charger. It was exactly the right amount of time actually to eat food. I think I was finished eating probably about the same time that the car actually got to 80%. So that's pretty much perfect timing. In terms of cost, yeah, on the Polar plan, that's 15 pence, as I mentioned earlier, 15 pence per kilowatt. And if you were using if you use something really expensive, like one of the 350 kilowatt chargers that you can find, the Polestar, you're going to charge a little faster, but some of those are as much as, I think, something like 70 pence. So it's 3 times, well, it's more than that. I mean, 70 divided by, it's like 4.6 times more expensive to charge on those. Even if you use, say, a BP charging point, and those are something like, I think they're 35 pence. So you're going to save 20 pence per kilowatt. So say you put, let's say you put in, I don't know, 60% of your battery. That's, say, 46 kilowatts. And at 20 pence, that's going to be about £9.36. So my point here is that I think I spent about £13 on food and something to drink. If you stop at a BP location and you charge on a 150 kilowatt charger in the Polestar, you're going to spend a fair bit more money. You might save half an hour, but that half an hour you lose, you could sit in a nice pub, have something to eat, and the amount of money you would have saved by using Polar as a Polar member would easily cover your lunch, pretty much. So these are kind of the things that I've been thinking about when owning an electric car are relevant and they're valid, is that obviously ownership's not necessarily about saving as much money as you can, but for some people it is. For me, I kind of think, well, what do I logically need to do? Do I need to get somewhere really quickly? In which case, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Use the fastest charging facility you can find. But if you have a little bit of time to spare and you have a membership to one of these plans like Polar or Ecotricity, perhaps. I mean, if you're a customer of Ecotricity, you get a discount, assuming that you find one of the chargers that actually works. Some of them don't, and that can be frustrating. But that's why these 50 kilowatt chargers are still relevant and very useful. They allow you to stop, take a bit of time, get some lunch, and potentially they're cheaper. So that's something to be mindful of. Is it worth using the 150 kilowatt chargers when you could use a 50, perhaps save a bit of money? So I hope you've enjoyed this and it's been useful. And if you could like, share, subscribe, do all those kinds of things, that would be great. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Thanks very much. Bye.